It's officially fall in the Salida, Colorado area, a time of year when real estate typically slows down. However, it didn't quite happen so much this month. In this video, I'm going to be going over the September 2025 housing market statistics for Chaffee County, Colorado, that includes Salida and Buena Vista, Colorado, the largest towns in the county. And you're going to want to stick around into the end because I go over multiple data points, including median price point, as well as median days on the market, and why this month was different than we'd normally see this time of year. If this is your first time to the channel, welcome. This channel is all about living in the Salida, Colorado area and the real estate market here. So if that interests you, please be sure and subscribe and hit the bell for notifications so you're the first to know when new informative videos become available. My name is Monica McCarthy and I'm a realtor that specializes in Salida, Colorado and surrounding areas. And I get calls all the time from people like you looking to move here. So whether you're thinking of moving here in a few weeks or a few months, please reach out to me. All of my contact information is in the description below. And I'd be happy to schedule a time to chat and help you make a smooth transition to the Salida, Colorado area. Okay, so now let's talk about the Chaffee County housing market statistics for September 2025. To summarize for you, our inventory went down a little bit, our buyer activity went up a little bit, and our prices went up as well. Okay, first we're going to talk about buyer demand because I think that's the one that's the most important to look at for this month. When I'm looking at buyer demand, I'm looking at a few data points. One is the amount of pending listings or the amount of properties that went under contract that month. So that shows direct buyer activity, how many homes went under contract that month. You can also look at closed listings, which is often an indicator of what went pending the prior month, but not always. So looking at closed listings does matter to look at. And then the median days on the market is another interesting one because that tells us how many days a property sat on the market before it went under contract. So that's another indicator of buyer activity. This month, our pending listings went down by just 3 compared to last month, 48 this month and 51 last month. So they went down just a little bit. Our median days on the market, however, went down quite a bit, which is pretty interesting for this time of year. They went down by 22 compared to last month. This month, it was 31 days, and last month in August, it was 53 days. And to give you a reference point, September of 2024, so September of last year, the median days on the market was 73. So typically this time of year, as we shift towards the final months of the year, our days on the market tend to go up. So it's kind of interesting that they were higher in August than they were in September. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about why I think that is at the end of the video, so be sure and stick around. Okay, now to inventory. So this year as a whole, we've had more inventory than we've seen in prior years, but as we shift towards the final months of the year, our overall inventory has been slowly declining. Sellers brought 52 new listings this month, 9% fewer than last month, but 21% more than September of last year. We ended the month with 273 active listings, which is fewer than last month's 299 active listings. So they're slowly going down, not significantly, but we are seeing a slight decrease in our overall inventory. Okay, now to price. The median close price for a property in Chaffee County, Colorado this past September 2025 was $688,000, which is 10% more than last month and 16% more than last year. Last month, our median close price dipped in the low 600s, which is not really common for our market. And so now we're in the mid to high 600s, which is a little bit more aligned with what we often see in our overall market throughout the year. I like to tell people our median price point is between 650 and 700. So that's kind of where that we are sitting right now. And so we're kind of seeing this plateau with like some bumps. And so last month it went down a little bit. This month we're popping a little bit back up. I predict that we're going to continue kind of in this realm when it comes to pricing. Okay, looking at towns individually, the median price point for a home in Salida, Colorado this past September 2025 was $745,750, which is 27% more than last year, while Buena Vista was $627,500, which is 7% less than last year. Now keep in mind, I say this every month, but I'll say it again in case you're watching this for the first time, our market is just crazy small. So depending on the price point of the few homes that close that month, it really does drastically change what we're looking at for median price point on a month-to-month basis. For example, in Salida, there were only 24 homes that closed and only 16 in BV. So that really just shows the price point for those homes. Okay, lastly, our percent of list price received. This is another good data point to look at to give you an idea, particularly if you're a buyer in this market, to know what kind of negotiation power you have for determining, what can you get off of the list price. So this gives us a good idea of how much off of the listed price you can get as a buyer. So this September, the percent of list price received was 96.8%, which was exactly the same as we saw last month. And it brings our overall year to date for all of 2025 as 97.2% of list price received, which shows that we're going slightly downward on our percent of list price received overall for the year. That number went down slightly compared to prior months, and therefore buyers do have a bit more leverage this time of year as of right now than we even saw earlier in the year. Okay, so first let's talk about why our buyer demand seemed to tick up this month compared to last month. Particularly, we saw those median days on the market go down quite a bit, which is unusual to see this time of year. Or one big thing that is happening in the real estate market right now on a national level is the mortgage interest rates are finally going down. So we are seeing rates in the low sixes, even high fives, and that is very favorable for a lot of buyers, particularly those who've kind of been waiting in the wings all year or maybe even longer, and they're ready to start pulling the trigger. So I think that contributed quite a bit to our uptick in buyer demand this past month, and it'll be interesting to see how it plays out the rest of the year, a year when traditionally this time of year, particularly in our market here, we're in the mountains, and in the wintertime, the real estate market tends to slow down. But if our interest rates continue to go down, which they are predicted they might by the end of this year and certainly early next year, we might see that buyer demand continue to remain steady, if not increased. So this is not a drastic shift. It's just really important to note, and stay tuned for upcoming market updates, and we can kind of see how this affects our market overall as we head towards the end of 2025. So for buyers in this market, if you are looking to purchase in this final quarter of 2025, it is actually a really good time to buy. We've got those mortgage interest rates that I just mentioned. Those are going down. We still have a decent amount of inventory for our market for this time of year. Like I mentioned, it's significantly higher than we saw this time last year. And while inventory is going down somewhat, it is not drastically decreasing. So you have a decent selection as a buyer in our market. And like I said, our percent of list price received is going down slightly. So you do have a good leverage with many homes, not every home, but many homes to negotiate on purchase price, particularly homes that have been sitting for many, many months. Some homes even since the beginning of the buying season in the spring. And you have oftentimes sellers that need to sell by the winter, by the holidays, by the end of the year, and are willing to negotiate on price. So if you're looking to buy right now, I do recommend looking at the market really closely with a local realtor that understands this market, because we are seeing some homes still come up. I've seen a few that happened even in the last few weeks that are quite desirable. They're in areas of town that are pretty desirable and at price points that are desirable, and those are going within days. So it depends on the house very much right now, especially now that we're having a bit more buyer activity and more buyers entering the market. So while you could have some good leverage with homes that have been sitting for a while, desirable homes that are coming up soon or that are coming up recently, you might not have as much leverage, you might not have as much time to wait and act. So all the more reason to connect with a local realtor that can not only show you that home quickly, but help you differentiate between the home that's overpriced and not as desirable, or that really desirable home that's priced well and gonna go quickly, because it really does matter in our market. But if you have questions about what that means and or any of these stats in this real estate market update, please reach out to me. I'm happy to be a resource for you. All of my contact information is below. I hope you found this information useful. If you did, please like and share this information. Leave me a comment. I'd love to know what you think. And either way, I really appreciate your time in watching this. Have a wonderful day.